Hello, I hope you're having a lovely day today. I am sharing with you today all the things that I've been thinking about for the month of January. So we're going to go on lots of different rabbit trails and topics. I know many of you say that you watch or listen to these videos while cleaning the house, and so you like the chatty videos instead of just music playing over videos. So I like these type of videos as well, so I'm going to probably be doing more of this style. And I like the Homemaker Chats videos because I'm sharing on different things I've been learning, things I've been thinking about and pondering in the home. I've been a homemaker for over 6 years full-time, and I love it. I love being a homemaker, and my hope is that the videos that I share encourages you in the role that God has given you for Titus 2, loving your husband, loving your children, being a keeper of the home. It is gorgeous outside. Today actually is a little bit more overcast, but the past few days have been just beautiful. You can see I have my seeds started. I'm getting them going slowly. This year I bought these fiberglass trays, so that has been my garden investment. Every year we invest in something different in the garden, and last year was our compost and wood chips was the major investment. And because we have our own beautiful compost this year, we're not gonna have to spend money on dirt. We also just started our beds last year. I could do a whole separate video on garden stuff, so if you want me to, I will. I can have Scott join me and we can do a full how we did our garden video, because I might be biased, but our garden is amazing. I love how we've done it. It is the Richard Perkins market style garden. Scott found out this layout and it works so good for us. We did this in Indiana for 2 seasons, then we moved here, and our first garden season here, we had to create a garden super quickly, and so the first garden season was terrible. So then last garden season, we went back to the ways that we know works well, and it was amazing. I grew so much stuff, and it was a beautiful, abundant harvest. And so I have started doing garden stuff again this year, and we are in zone 7. So if you have not started planting, do not panic. It is not like, I don't know, sometimes when you see other people starting to plant their seeds and you have a garden, it like stirs up paranoia in you. So I don't want to do that. There have been many seasons that I haven't started a garden. I haven't started planting my seeds until way later, and it's totally fine. It all depends on the season of life that you're in. You may not be able to start your seeds right now. It's fine. Don't stress out about it. Last year we were in South Africa at this time, so I was definitely not starting my seeds right now. Since we had a few beautiful days, and there are some things that need to be planted 8 to 10 weeks before a frost date, those are the things that I have planted, and that includes onions. I've got some onion seeds growing. We'll see how that goes this year. I have very low expectations. I've tried once before to grow my onions by seed, and that was a disaster. So I'm trying again. We'll see what happens. I'll probably also still buy the little onion sets and plant those as well as a backup plan. I probably will end up doing a separate garden video talking about starting my seeds and the things that we're doing outside. I'm not going to spend any more time on it with this video because I have a lot of other things to talk about. I actually wanted to get this video out sooner, but the day that I woke up thinking I was gonna do this, so I had a sty in my eye, and normally if you get a sty, it's, for me, they're not like that big of a deal. I feel it more than it's visible. Well, this sty was so huge that like my eye was nearly swollen and shut. And of course it was the one day I had an appointment and I had to go out in public, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. So I wore my glasses and I was like, maybe no one will notice, but I mean, it was very obvious. But this is why you always keep colloidal silver in your house. So normally in the past, if I get a sty, again, it's never been this severe, but if I've gotten a sty in the past, I will just take some chamomile, put it in a tea bag, make a tea, and then I will put that bag on my eye, and it feels soothing, relieving, and it's nice. Well, this thing was so huge that a thought came to my mind to put colloidal silver in my eye, because when I had pink eye last year for the first time as an adult, I had remembered my sister said colloidal silver heals pink eye. So I had done that for pink eye, and I thought, you know what? what's the worst that this can do? So I put colloidal silver in my eye, and literally within hours, my eye was night and day difference. So have colloidal silver on hand because it is so useful. So that's what first delayed me in making this video. And then we had such beautiful sunny days that I was like, I'm not gonna be inside recording a video when I can be outside enjoying 70-degree weather and sunshine. And I hung my clothes out on the line for the first time this year. And I was thinking when I was hanging it, I was like, you know what, this takes a lot of time. Like, you're taking the time to go hang it outside on the line. And sometimes on these shorter days of the winter, they don't even totally dry on the line, even if it is sunny out. But I would love to know, I feel like there should be a study done on this. I think that there is a dopamine release that happens when you hang your clothes outside. I think the process of actually taking your clothes and hanging them on the line in the sunshine, it gives you this dopamine hit. And I was like, you know what? I think there should be a study done, because I think women who hang their clothes outside are innately happier. And that could probably offend a few people, but I just think that there is something so wholesome and rich about hanging your clothes outside. And it's really funny because when I go antique shopping, I'm always looking for vintage clothespins. I love old clothespins. They do not make clothespins today like they used to. The clothespins you buy from the store today, they so easily snap and break, whereas old clothespins, either ones, the hairpin clothespins or the squeeze ones, they are just, they're made so much better. And I always get comments from the people that work at these antique places or thrift stores that's like, why would you need clothespins? So it's obviously not super popular, but it should be. Everyone should have a clothesline. It is such a blessing to be able to hang your clothes outside, and nothing compares to the smell of your sheets when you hung them outside to dry. It will never compare to the smell of them coming out of the dryer. The smell of fresh air smells amazing. So that's my little 2 cents on having a clothesline. And if you think clotheslines are expensive, because clotheslines can be expensive, we made ours from a tree that fell down. So it doesn't have to be expensive. We paid nothing for ours because the line actually came from a toolbox that was my grandpa's. So the whole thing was free. The clothesline was free and the actual wood sides were free. We didn't pay anything to put up the clothesline, and I have a whole video on clotheslines specifically if that is a topic that interests you at all or gives you creative ideas for how to make a clothesline. I will link that video below if you're interested. Also, so many of you left amazing comments on my wearing dresses video, and there were a few comments saying Pact does not have a single dress on their website and they don't have a clearance section anymore. And of course, the day that I posted that video, Pact's website was down, and when it came back up, it was a brand new website. Everything looked very different. So I called them and I asked, I was like, are you getting dresses back, and are you bringing back your clearance section? And she said that they are bringing their dresses back. They are currently moving warehouses, and they will be getting a new shipment of items in at the end of February, and their clearance section will be back. So if you looked up Pact dresses after that and you were sorely disappointed, they are bringing dresses back. So when that happens, I will try to keep an eye on it and I'll share with you all when they are back. So thank you so much for all your feedback on there, and everyone loved our little chicken Foghorn. She was so cute and made me laugh so hard at the beginning of the video, and how her head was like on a gimbal. It was great. I thoroughly enjoy chickens. If you have the ability and are in the season of life to get chickens, I have loved having chickens so much. They bring me so much joy. They are not a lot of work. We still leave on weekends. We've been gone for 4 days and they have been totally fine, and we don't even have anyone come and check on them or anything while we're gone, and they've been totally fine. So if you've been on the fence about getting chickens and you are in a season and a place where you feel that you're able to, because I know sometimes, like for us, it took us from the time we wanted chickens till the time we got chickens was 6 years, because we were renting and moving and circumstances just didn't work out. And for those of you who are in that situation, I understand, because we've been there. Normally in these videos, I try to share on a recipe or something that I've been making in the kitchen. And today I wanted to share how we've been eating so many of our eggs. Which sounds weird, but I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but Scott and I, we go through phases with eating or enjoying eggs for breakfast, like scrambled eggs. Sometimes we really crave it, and then other times the thought of eating eggs puts just a bad taste in your mouth. So what I did, I bought us a big thing of ham and I cut it up into tiny chunks and then froze it. And then every time I make eggs for us, I first put coconut oil in my cast iron, and then I put cut up onions in it, and then I put ham in it, and then once it's really nice and hot, I'll then pour our eggs in it. If I'm just eating it, I'll do 2 eggs whisked with some milk so it's scrambled, and salt. If Scott's joining, then I'll do 4 to 5 eggs. And the ham, the juices of the ham makes the eggs taste so good. So economically, it's a great way to stretch meat. Ham is generally expensive if you're buying better ham, but it ends up being way cheaper than buying bacon. And then a lot of hams, you get the ham bone and you can save that for a soup. My mom makes the most amazing bean soup recipe with a ham bone in it and some chunks of ham. Makes my mouth water thinking of it. But that's then a great way to then use the ham bone. So that's a little tip on if you're struggling with eating scrambled eggs, to buy a huge thing of ham and cut it up. And like I said, I think I did this mid-December and we still have so much ham left because you really don't need a lot. It's just enough to add the flavor of ham to your eggs. It's so good. And the onions really help as well. And that's something else that I do is the store that we go to, it's kind of like, it's like Whole Foods, but it's a smaller version of a Whole Foods. There's only a handful in the country of these stores. And so that's where I go for groceries, and they have a little section that is their discounted fruits and vegetables, and they always have onions there. So when they have onions, I buy everything that they have because then I will chop it up, put it in the freezer, or I will dehydrate it and make dehydrated onions. So that has been my go-to breakfast for this entire month of January, and I have not gotten tired of eating eggs. So I'm changing the subject completely to a whole different subject. Scott and I have been married for 8 years. We are going on knowing each other 9 years. We met 9 years ago in January. It's funny, I was on Facebook the other day and I had a little reminder pop up of me going to South Africa 9 years ago. And I said to Scott, I went to South Africa 9 years ago by myself. I can't believe that. But, so we've known each other for almost 9 years. The other night, we were out and about, and where we live, we don't get to see sunsets or sunrises because we live in a valley. And so when we're out in the evenings, I love seeing the sunsets. And I think we live in an area where we probably get beautiful sunsets all the time. We just wouldn't know because I'm usually not out in the evenings. So this one evening, the sky was like all these different layers of orange and then pink and peach. It was just beautiful. And I said to Scott, the sky looks like sherbet. And he was like, yeah, I guess it kind of does. And I don't know why the thought popped into my mind of, what is sherbet even made out of? Because I haven't had sherbet in years. And he was like, oh, it's made of powdered sugar. And I was like, powdered sugar? I don't think it's made of powdered sugar. And he was like, yeah, it's in that packet and you pour it in your mouth. It's like a powdered sugar. And I was like, I don't think we're thinking the same thing. Sherbet is frozen. It's like a dairy-free alternative to ice cream. And I was like, clearly we are totally different understandings. What you think sherbet is and what I think it is totally different. So he was like, pull up your phone and look up South African sherbet. So I typed in South African sherbet, and what popped up was sherbet. Which is a ridiculous word, sherbet, but it is exactly what he said. It is these packets of powdered, colorful sugar that you pour into your mouth as a child. It actually reminded me of Fun Dip. If you remember what Fun Dip is, do they even still make Fun Dip? I hope not. It's those like candy hard sticks that you then lick and dip it in sugar and eat. Do you ever get mind blown of those type of things? Like a sugar stick that you dip in sugar and then eat? Thinking about it, that's not even an enjoyable experience. So it's just so funny to me. Or thinking of pixie sticks and how you would cut the thing and just pour the sugar in your mouth. Like, not an enjoyable experience. Whereas like at least eating chocolate is like an enjoyable experience. Just eating sugar, not it. It's just funny. But he was vindicated. In South Africa, sherbet is a thing, and it is the powdered sugar thing you pour in your mouth. So I was like, no, sherbet in America is like an ice cream alternative. So we were going to this health food store that I told you about, and I was like, if they have sherbet, we're buying it and you're trying it. Sadly, they didn't have any. So to this day, Scott's never had sherbet, and he probably never will, because I probably will never buy it. To wrap up this video, I wanted to share some of the thrifted things that I have found. Not many, I don't have hardly any, but I found the one thing that I've been looking for years. I've been on the search for this specific thing for such a long time, and it's either too expensive or broken, so I never buy it. If you remember, I have shared about the shop down the road from us that is a bookstore and an antique store. It's owned by a mother and daughter, and they price their stuff so good, but everything is so beautiful. It's one of my favorite places to go in the whole world. So I walked in at the end of December, and sitting there was this butter mold. And I have been looking for a butter mold, I'm not kidding, for years, probably 5 years. And anytime they're in good condition, they are so expensive. And I'm talking like at least $80. This butter mold is in nearly perfect condition, and it was $32. And the design in it is wheat. It is so beautiful. I will be using this to make butter. I am so excited about it. This is one of my favorite things that I have found in a while, and I just love it so much. So I will be using this to make our butter, and it was a great price. I love when that happens. Next thing is a smaller thing, but it was only $1, and I haven't actually opened it yet, but it is this cast iron hook. And I love these type of things. I think they're so useful, especially if you have plants hanging around your house. It's just, these are so nice. And if you go to Hobby Lobby or a place like that, you're gonna be, I mean, Hobby Lobby is probably the cheapest I've found hooks like this, but you're still gonna be paying more than $1 for this type of thing. And it is cast iron. It's so beautiful. So I'm gonna put this somewhere in the house where I'm going to hang a pot plant from. So I haven't decided where yet, but I got this for $1. And then the last thing, I've gotten really good at continuing on with my sprouting of my wheat berries. And it's a process because you soak your wheat berries overnight with just a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and then the next morning you'll rinse them off. And at this point is when you use your screen. I got this one from Azure. It's a very good price. It's stainless steel. But when I first started sprouting, I had this one, and this was given to me from a very close friend who is now with the Lord, and so I can't get rid of it because it is sentimental to me, because she's the one who got me started with sprouting. And so I have this plastic one. So I have these two, and I was thinking I don't love the plastic because when they're in the process of sprouting, you're tipping your jars upside down, and I put mine in a ceramic bowl. That way it obviously catches the water. And then several times throughout the day, 1 or 2, I will rinse it and then again set it upside down to drain out. And then as soon as the sprout starts to get a little bit of a nub at the end of it is when it's ready to be dehydrated. If you sprout it too much, you could still eat it in like a dish, but you're not going to be able to mill it, because I've done that before. It sprouted too much, it got too big of a tail, and then it becomes very light and it doesn't feed through the grain mill. So you do have to be mindful with how long you're letting it sprout for. But I was thinking the other day, I really need to order another one of the stainless steel screens from Azure. So that exact day that I had this thought process of I need to order another screen from Azure, I went to this little thrift shop that usually has good prices, but it's a hit or a miss. But I decided to stop in there the one day, and they had tons of little half-pint mason jars, and they were 50 cents. Doing the math, it was going to be cheaper to buy them from this place. And when you buy new mason jars, they come with the rings. And I have so many rings that I don't know what to do with them all. So all I need is the jars. So I bought all of these half pint mason jars that they had. It was probably 15 or 16 for 50 cents. I go to the register and this man comes up to me and he's like, oh, it's nice to see that people are still using these things. I have a whole bunch more in the back. Do you want me to bring them to you? So I was like, sure, that's fine. He was like, I'll just give them to you. So he comes back out and he's like, I can't find all the mason jars, but here are a few. And he puts them on the counter and then hands this one over to me and says, you can have this, but I have no idea what that is for. And lo and behold, it's a stainless steel sprouting screen. I was like, God, you see me. This is amazing. I love when the Lord does that. And it just reminds me of Matthew 6 verse 6. Pray to your Father who is in secret. He who sees you in secret will reward you openly. I didn't even pray. I didn't even ask him for one of these. I just had in my mind, when I do my Azure order, I'll add one of these to it. And that very same day that I had the thought process, God literally gave me this from an older gentleman at a thrift store, handed this over to me and said, I don't know what this is, but you can have it. You can't make this stuff up. It's just so good. If you made it this far, I hope that you liked it. I always want to put stuff out there that is encouraging and edifying and makes you excited about building your home economy. It's good to be a woman. God made you to do things that only you can do, and that is a huge blessing. And we can have fun doing it, and we can do things with the Lord, inviting him into every area of our life. He is so good, and I know he loves to give us good gifts, and sometimes little simple things like stainless steel sprouting lids. So good. I hope you have a wonderfully blessed rest of your day.